Egypt President-elect Mohamed Mursi hails Tahrir crowds. Egyptian President-elect Mohamed Mursi has raised crowds in Cairo's Tahrir Square, the focal point of the protest that overthrew President Hosni Mubarak. The revolution must continue until all its objectives are met, Mr. Mursi said. Mr. Mursi, Egypt's first freely elected civilian president, is speaking on the eve of his swearing-in. Thousands had gathered in the square to protest against the decrees issued by Egyptian military rulers before Mursi's election. Addressing the crowd, Mr. Mursi promised to be a president for all Egyptians, adding, "You are the source of all authority and legitimacy. I promise you that I will not give up on any of the powers given to the president," Mr. Mursi said in a veiled reference to the SCAF's recent decrees. Mr. Mursi is due to be sworn in on Saturday before the country's Supreme Constitutional Court. Spokesman for the Islamist Muslim Brotherhood, to which Mr. Mursi belongs, had previously said he would take his oath before Parliament, which was dissolved by the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, SCAF, last week. The assembly elected last November was dominated by the Muslim Brotherhood-backed Freedom and Justice Party, FJP, and other Islamists. The SCAF issued a declaration giving itself sweeping legislative powers and control over defense policy and announcing the appointment of a panel to write a new constitution. Another controversial decision by SCAF to give military police powers to arrest was suspended by a court earlier this week. Handling relationship with the SCAF is likely to be a key test for Mr. Mursi as he begins his term of office. Protesters gathered in Tahrir Square on Thursday chanted slogans against the military and in support of Mr. Mursi. "I am here to tell the military council that we the people elected parliament, so it's only us, the people, who can dissolve it," Intizar al-Saka, a protester from the FJP, told Reuters news agency. The SCAF had previously said it would hand over power to Mr. Mursi by the end of the month. China's Zhenzhou 9 spacecraft returned to Earth. A Chinese space capsule carrying 3 crew members has returned to Earth following a 13-day mission. Images of the capsule landing in Inner Mongolia at 10:05 local time or 2:05 GMT were shown live on television. The astronauts, including China's first woman in space, carried out a successful manual docking with the Tiangong 1 laboratory module. The mission is a key step towards China's goal of building a space station by 2020. Premier Wen Jiabao hailed the mission as a complete success. "This is another outstanding contribution by the Chinese people to humanity's efforts to explore the use of space," Mr. Wen said in Beijing. "It feels so good to stand on Earth, and it feels even better to be home," astronaut Liu Wang was quoted by national broadcaster CCTV as saying. "Tiangong 1, our home in space, was comfortable and pleasant. We are very proud of our nation," female astronaut Liu Yang said. Manual docking, the crew of the Zhenzhou 9 craft successfully carried out the country's manual docking maneuver earlier in the week. The delicate procedure, which involved bringing together 2 orbiting vessels traveling at thousands of miles an hour, was mastered by the USSR and US space teams in 1960s. The crew also carried out automatic docking of 2 crafts during their mission. Floods. Many thousands flee homes in Assam. Almost 1 million people have been forced to leave their homes by floods in India as torrential rain lashed through northeastern state of Assam, officials say. At least 27 people have died in flood-related incidents, 5 of them drowning after their boat sank in a swollen river. 21 of 27 districts have been inundated by floodwaters, reports say. Heavy monsoon rains have been battering Assam for the past fortnight. Assam Agriculture Minister Nyamoni Sen Deka told AFP news agency that around 9 lakh people had been displaced from their homes due to flooding, and most of them had taken shelter on higher grounds and tents. Mr. Deka told reporters that this was the worst flood in state since 1998. Assam Health Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said all major rivers in the state, including the largest, the Brahmaputra, were running menacingly high, with breaches reported in many places. In neighboring Bangladesh, heavy rains and multiple landslides have killed more than 100 people in recent days. We'll move on the business world. Bank of England head says bank must change culture. Bank of England Governor Sir Mervyn King has called for a change in the banking culture, saying the customers have received shoddy treatment. He added that the bank leaders had let down the many honest and hard-working people in the financial sector. Sir Mervyn's comments come on the day banks were found to have missold financial products to small businesses. It is the third major scandal this year, following manipulation of lending rates and loan insurance mis-selling. Speaking at the launch of the bank's twice-yearly financial stability report, Sir Mervyn demanded immediate and far-reaching action to reform the structure and culture of the UK banking industry. He said that goes to both culture and the banking industry and to the structure of the banking industry, from excessive levels of compensation, shoddy treatment of customers, to deceitful manipulation of one of the most important interest rates, and now this morning to news of yet another mis-selling scandal. Welcome to the world of science. Government must resist new dash for gas, advisors say. The government needs to multiply investment in clean energy fourfold to avoid breaking laws of renewables and climate change, official advisors say. This would raise the annual energy bill of a typical household by £100 by 2020, says the Committee on Climate Change, but it says that it's a cheaper option than a new dash for gas. It says the potential advent of shale gas boom in Europe is not a game changer for energy policy in the UK. The committee's annual report to Parliament confirms that the greenhouse gases fell in the UK by 7% in 2011, but says most of this was down to the warm winter, rising fuel costs and falling incomes. Only 0.8% of the carbon dioxide cut was due to the policies from government. We have to move from good intentions, and we need to do it very quickly, said David Kennedy, Chief Executive of the CCC. And in sports, I was sure Leander would say yes, Vardhan. Leander may have kept everyone guessing whether he would participate in London Olympics, but Vishnu Vardhan, his doubles partner for the mega event, said he was always sure that things would fall in place. Pius, who was frowning over the being paired with Aita with a low-ranked player like Vardhan, on Wednesday night confirmed that he would compete in next month's London Games. I was never worried. People around me were panic-stricken, but I was calm and composed. Actually, Leander himself had not come out openly, and all of it was coming through media. I was sure that things would fall in place soon, Vardhan told PTI. I was only focusing on my preparations and was going on with my practice regime, he added. On Pius' comment last night that he was not sure if Vardhan has grass court shoes. The Vardhan said maybe he wants to be ready equipment-wise before the games. I think he is concerned and just wants to make sure that I am ready. And now, before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. Merkel defends compromise deal on eurozone banks. Colorado wildfires. President Obama declares disaster. Researchers use spoofing to hack into a flying drone. Egypt President-elect Mohamed Mursi hails Tahrir crowds. China's Zhenzhou 9 spacecraft returns to Earth. India floods, many thousands flee homes in Assam. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks too. Thank you.